I'm at 6535 Highland Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues or root intrusion, anything that would be concerning to the buyer. Our access location is the main stack. Clean out the main stack in the basement. It's inside the bathroom in the basement. You can see there's the toilet and the shower down here. There's where the steps come down. And the clean out is back in here. So, you can see it's PVC. Now, based off the age of the home, they may have done some other stuff to it. Based off the age of the home, it should be cast iron. And it could be clay underneath the floor, but most likely it's cast iron. This is a weird kind of turn. They have to run some water or something to try to see what's going on here, to try to see what this stuff is here hanging in. Looks like some tree roots. I'm going to run some water here for a second. Let's see if we can get the camera cleared off a little bit. So we're going to run some water down, and hopefully, based off where it comes in, it might not come in this early. But you can see there's definitely some root intrusion. It's probably right at the connection where it switches material. It's not real common to see root intrusion in PVC. So I want to try to get a good enough look at it to be able to see, because see, right as we go from the PVC into the clay, that's where the root intrusion is. So it may be difficult to get a full knife in there, like a full double six. It has a big clean out, and it's a pretty big stack. When it goes from that 4-inch into the 6-inch clay, sometimes you have a little bit of a problem getting a double six into this, but they should be able to. But that's what would do the best cleaning job, or a large jetter. And so really it's pretty normal, honestly, to find some root intrusion in an old clay line. It's roughly 80 to 90% of all the clay lines I expect have some form of root intrusion. That's mainly due to the connections that are made, are just, the packing in between those connections after 100 years tends to break down. And so it's kind of a normal situation. So it looks like here we go from clay, and it does go into SDR35 or PVC. You can see kind of the rubber boot there that holds the PVC to the clay. There's a Y in there. And then it goes right back to the clay. So we added a connection there. Take a look at that. It wouldn't be surprising if this is going straight down the driveway based on the layout of the home. But I didn't see anything, any floor drains or anything. There's another little tiny bit of root intrusion. That looks like it's almost inactive. Let's see if we can get this to jump past this stuff. But where my camera is compared to the of weird how the camera's off to the side, and that's what's caused it. If it was down in the flow line, it would really help. Oh, got it through there. Keep kind of bouncing it and see if it'll bounce over and eventually go past it. Let's see if we can get past that. Those roots. At least bring it out of the way a little bit. There we go. Alright. So we'll see if we can get back to that. That was about 42 feet, 43 feet. So push out as far as I can, but it looks like the line is going to have to be cleaned. It looks pretty good structurally. I haven't seen any kind of major damage or anything to the line. This looks like some buildup from the floor drain or something there. Getting that close to the main. See a whole lot, so to get out, hopefully I can get out far enough and get into the main, and that way I can inspect the line on the way back. Get the camera out. There we go. No idea what this is now. If I'm at the main, if I'm at the bottom of a huge drop off, it's really hard to tell because of all this stuff. There we go. Okay, looks like another root ball. And it is like, I think this is right at the main. If we get a little closer, you can actually see behind it. Looks like the reflection of a line. As it, kind of comes in to the larger line, kind of like crossing it. Looks like there's some water getting in at that connection. Just groundwater along with the roots. So I'll see if I can bounce it over there, but I'm not real. About as good as we're going to get, but the line does need to be cleaned all the way out. I'm going to pause the video and check to see where we are and see if that is at the sewer main. But I mean, overall, I did see that the line looked good structurally. We have a few spots with some root intrusion that will warrant a cleaning before taking occupancy. I would either do a jetting to try to clear that out, or at least try to get a 6-inch double knife in there to try to, something big enough to scrape the walls of the pipe to get those roots out so you're starting fresh. And then beyond that, you're probably going to want to either, you can do some preventative maintenance in the future and start with either using some root killer. They make all kinds of different stuff. The main one is Root X. It's kind of the Kleenex to tissue kind of thing. It's the brand name that kind of is used in place of foaming root killer. But you can find there's multiple different brands that make multiple different types of root killer, the foaming root killer that you can dump down through the line. It foams up, catches on the roots, and kills them back. But sometimes, say once a year, if you use that, a lot of times it'll keep them from getting big enough to cause any issues. But you could also do periodic cleaning. Usually what I recommend is an initial cleaning in a situation like this, and then maybe use root killer once a year for a few years, and then have the line re-inspected in 5 years or so, just to kind of see how good a job the root killer is doing and how fast the roots are growing in the line. So, but right now I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to check to make sure that we're out of the main, and at least see where we are in relation to the overall length of the line, and then we'll come back and finish the inspection. All right, well, it is not at the main. It's right at the edge of the driveway, so it's just before the sidewalk. So we would have plenty of space. We have plenty more pipe to inspect. It's right around where the municipality would take over, but based off of that buildup and the angle, if you look at the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see how my camera's sitting at about a 34 degree angle. And so what's happening is, the camera's coming down, hitting those roots, and so there'd really be nothing I can do because of the angle that I'm hitting that turn and those roots. And so the line would have to be replaced. And so I'm unable to make it past about 75 feet until the line gets cleared. And so again, what I'm going to recommend is a cleaning, either a jetting or mechanical cleaning, to clear the roots, and then re-inspection, so that you can check the rest of this line. So when they do a cleaning, just want to make sure that they're going all the way out, roughly 100 feet or so. Should get them at least close to the main, so maybe a little over 100 feet. Let's see if we can make sure we get this rinsed off now. Now we got some stuff on the front of the camera. Keep going until we get this thing clear. You can see on the way back that. So overall, the water will make it through there, but any kind of, you start flushing toilet paper and stuff down there, you can catch and cause blockages. And so, definitely seen a lot more situations where they, a lot worse, but this is still enough to prevent the inspection from being completed. So I'm going to start pulling back here, and so, but you want to make sure that when they do the inspection that, that once they do the cleaning, that we're able to get past that 75-foot mark. And let's go see what that was. Thought I saw something climbing down the wall there. I'm not sure what that was. But, overall the line looked good structurally. We don't know what it looks like past that point, obviously. But, looks like overall, a few spots of roots. But, again, relatively common to find that in these situations. With having clay lines and being, as old as this is pretty common. Looked like the only reason my camera was able to get past was the angle of descent of the pipe, and also mixed with the root intrusion, obviously getting in on the bottom. That's why it was holding that water. But, let's see, really, most of this line looks really good structurally, so. There's some roots here, about 43, 44 feet. This is what we were mentioning earlier. I think this is what I had to punch through earlier. Pretty sure that was around 44 feet. But we were able to get past it. So we'll obviously mark a couple of those, kind of the worst spots, because it's pretty heavy there. And then here's one at 42. This is the one that I was getting stuck on. And this is frustrating too, because now my camera's coated with junk again. 42 feet. Should be able to get some water through here. We see. There we go. And so there, really, so between 40 and 44 feet, there's some root intrusions. Fairly minor to medium. It's not anything crazy, but it's a little bit of the concrete or the stuff bleeding through there. That's from the connection. It's like the old like the stuff they use to make the joint, basically. I think that's where either the downspout or the floor drain comes in there in the garage. I think it's the floor drain in the garage that comes in right there because it makes that turn. There's a hole dug in, so it's probably that kitchen line actually. A little bit more roots here. Right at that turn at about 21 feet. And here's this stuff here as we switched materials. Pretty big hefty spot there. About 13 feet. So 11 to 13 feet, and then from there it's all PVC. So really just there's more roots between about 11 and 15 feet. So, not horrible. From here on out, we're just coming back up. But, of course, we don't know what the rest of the line looks like. But overall, the line looked good structurally. Obviously, we weren't able to get past that 75-foot mark, which is at about the sidewalk. And so, he will need to do a re-inspection once the line is done. But like I mentioned earlier, we have overall. Line looks good. We made it out to about 75 feet. At that point, there are major, some decent sized root intrusion, but it is along the flow line and mixed with the angle, as we discussed. I'm unable to get my camera to go past that point. The line will need to be cleaned and re-inspected to check the last 30 feet or so before it enters the main, and then you'll need some preventative maintenance in the future, most likely. Just some root X would help. You don't have any major, huge trees out there, so it may not. Hopefully that'll do a good enough job to keep everything down. But again, I would recommend a follow-up inspection in 5 years or so to kind of check root growth, and you can modify a maintenance schedule if it's necessary, or maybe you find out that the roots are staying really low and you don't have to worry about it much. But again, overall, the line looked good structurally up to that 75-foot mark. It just needs a cleaning and a re-inspection to check the final 30 and to make sure they get rid of those roots. But it does seem to be letting water through, but will require something as soon as you get in here and start flushing. You get some people in here using it on a regular basis, it could back up, have build up against those roots or that root intrusion. And so, yeah. So that's going to end the inspection at 6535 Highland Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio.